Hello and welcome to the show. Now, the Ferrari 375 was quite possibly the most difficult car to drive in Forza 5. It had some 370 horsepower, weighed about 1,500 pounds, and had absolutely no grip. There was just no rear end grip in this car whatsoever. Trying to use any of the horsepower was incredibly difficult, and it just wanted to go sideways pretty much everywhere. It was, an incredibly difficult car to drive, and I was curious to know whether it would still be as difficult to drive on Forza 6, but I was going to set it a little bit of a challenge. You see, I wanted to take one of these classic Grand Prix cars around the Nurburgring in the wet, and I figured the Ferrari would be a great candidate to scare myself silly. But before I would take the Ferrari around, I wanted to give it a target, a sort of a benchmark almost, to try and compete against, and it was going to be something a little bit silly. I was expecting the Ferrari to be very difficult to drive around this circuit, so I decided to give it the target of a front-wheel drive Vauxhall, the Astra VXR. I really like the Astra VXR, I have to say. I think this is a great little car. This, of course, is not going to have anywhere near the same difficulties of dealing with the wet weather at Nurburgring. Admittedly, there are still going to be difficulties. This was the first lap I did in the wet. Around here, may have found a rather large puddle I wasn't expecting and got the car all out of shape. Being a front-wheel drive car, though, if things like that happen, you can get away with sort of booting it and hoping that the front-wheel drive will sort it out. Yeah, that was a scary moment in this car. I mean, the Ferrari is a low A-class car. This Astra is a mid-C class. On the face of things, it shouldn't stand a chance. But the expectation is, of course, that the Ferrari would be slipping and sliding its way around the lap. And I hope that they would sort of even themselves out. To drive the Astra around the Nurburgring was pretty damn good, actually. As I said, having not driven the Nurburgring in the wet on Forza 6 before, it dealt with the course very, very well. For a while, certainly early on in my driving of the Nurburgring, I never really liked this circuit. I never really quite learned it. I did a series on Forza 5 about sort of beating lap times around here. I got much better at it, doing that series, much more familiar with the track. Now, I really quite liked driving the Astra around here. Did have to be very, very careful of the puddles. It was very easy for things to go slightly wrong. As we see here, I just outbraked myself a little tiny bit, and you get that wheel on the dirt on the outside, and that was it. Again, big slide from the car. More avoiding of puddles by having wheels on or slightly over the curb there. I was pushing quite hard with the Vauxhall, as you can see in this later stages. Again, running wheels over the curb. This bit here is always horrible, trying to judge that, and just carried a little too much speed and did a little bit of exploring with the Vauxhall. However, the rest of the lap around here was nice and clean. Didn't have any more escapades off the track, which meant we had a target time to beat for the Ferrari of a 9 minutes 6.7. I will be honest, sat on the grid here with the Ferrari, I am quite terrified of this car. I remember how difficult this is to drive in the dry, let alone in the wet, at the most fearsome of all of the racetracks. A 9 minute 6.7 is my target time to try and beat. I'm not confident, but I will give it my best shot. We will see how the Ferrari fares. Can it beat a front-wheel drive Vauxhall? That is the question. I'm going to have to be so careful. Like, some of the mistakes I made with the Vauxhall I could get away with. In this, I will not get away with making a mistake. If I put a wheel on a puddle at a bad point, we're round and in the wall. If I put a wheel on the grass, we're round and in the wall. There is absolutely no margin for error. Pleasantly, this is not quite as terrible to drive. I think I'm just too scared of going near the throttle at the moment. This is not too bad to drive at the moment through these first few corners. We are doing okay. Avoid the puddles, avoid the puddle. This is literally going to be a game to spot the puddle and try and avoid it. That's all it is, because I don't trust this car whatsoever at dealing with puddles. Like, the Astra was okay if there was a puddle. You know, I could get away with things. Oh dear God, but this, no. There is no getting away with anything. I've got to be straight through this one here Not as bad as the Puddle of Doom at Sebring. Still pretty bad, though. Through there. Let's just slow it down up here. I don't really dare take very much speed through this part of the track. There is a puddle in the middle of the road there that I want to avoid. Again, I mean, I'm trying to get to full throttle here in third gear, and it just wants to slide. It's all the Ferrari is wanting to do. It's really hard to see with the amount of spray coming off the front wheels as well for my puddle spotting. It's really difficult to see what on earth is going on. I'm braking and slowing down for this corner big time. I know how dangerous this turn here can be for supercars in the dry, let alone for these kind of cars in the soaking wet. Oh, the lean. The lean through the turn is impressive from the Ferrari. Oh, and then we can't go near the throttle. This is where I had very nearly a big moment with the Astra, one of the many places. And then he had a big moment with any car around here in the wet. There is a big puddle on the way up the hill that I'm going to be staying well out of the way of. Yeah, it's got to stick out wide up there if you want to survive getting through there. And then, oh, the understeer. There was not much turning at all through there. For the first 2 minutes of this lap, I've been pleasantly surprised by the Ferrari. I really thought this was going to try and kill me a little bit more than it actually is. It's just that little bit more controllable. And I am being very tentative with the car. And it's kind of working. It's kind of working okay. I have still got to push, though, if I want to beat that bloody Astra. The VXR Astra is a nice car. I've got to say, I do quite like it. And it did do pretty well. For my first lap of Nurburgring in the wet, that did pretty damn well. Around here, whoa, careful now, Ferrari. Easy does it. Got to be careful with the elevation changes and so on. I'm just waiting for that. The fearful sound of hitting a puddle. Oh, that sound. That is not a sound you want to hear in this car. Oh, crap. There's a puddle down there. If we can be going straight when we hit them, we're probably going to be okay. But if we're trying to steer, especially if we have like one wheel, and in this car it's the back wheel goes in the puddle, just one single back wheel in the puddle, and I'm trying to put power down at the time, that is when we are going to have an almighty accident. So we've got to avoid that one. We'll stay out wide around here. I'm definitely not going to put you down into first. Through here, we'll just keep in a higher gear. I mean, again, the car does move around a lot if you try and go to the throttle. But, yeah, it's really, I mean, just in general, the cars have actually surprised me with how controllable things. It's silly cars, what I expected to be barely drivable. They've actually done pretty well. I mean, there is not much grip at all here. Really, none of the grip. But Ferrari is doing okay. It's not doing too badly at all. Now we're going up to... Oh god, this turn here, I've got to take quite a tight line on the way in to avoid some puddles. I can get through here, this is alright, it's the next bit up here. Take a tight line. There's a little sign, I don't know what the sign says. I'm not sure if it doesn't say warning water or if it's warning me of the corner. I don't know, there's lots of water around through here. I've actually done a really good job of avoiding it. Being just this little bit more cautious is working really nicely for the Ferrari. It's here. This is where I had a huge moment with the Astra that I cannot repeat in the Ferrari if I want to complete a lap. I can't remember where the water was, and I can't see. Where is the water? I know there is water around right there. It's on the outside. I think we've missed the worst of it on the outside. Yes, there we go. Then we've dealt with the puddles through that section. That is a horrible, horrible bit. Now I'm trying to unleash some speed, but again, I mean, these corners here are flat out in the Astra. I daren't quite take them as comfortably anyway. I was flat out through the first part. It's not as comfortable, though. In the Ferrari, I mean, we're 80 miles an hour and the back end. We're in third gear, and the back end is just constantly, you're just fighting the car. It's all you're doing around the course of this lap is fight the Ferrari, more fighting. However, we've made it to the 5-minute mark and I haven't pointed backwards yet. So I'm taking that as a victory. I have been very, very cautious, but we haven't pointed backwards. Careful of the puddle on the inside, then goes to the outside of the track. Oh, aquaplaning off that one there is not fun. These cars are just insane. Right, a carousel. I've completely missed it ever so well. I kind of got back in it by the end of it. I was slightly scared. There is a puddle on the inside, but it's really low down, so on the most part you can avoid it. Just leaving this in a higher gear is working. I just can't see a thing with the spray now. I know there are puddles somewhere around here. Puddles, puddles, puddles somewhere. Don't put a wheel on the grass. Wheel on the grass is insta-death. I've done so well at getting it straight through the puddles that we haven't had too many issues with aquaplaning. Only on the run up towards the carousel, corner before the carousel, we nearly had an off. But aside from that, puddles have held less fear than I expected. But now we're coming to the technical part. of the track. Bad Ferrari. This is a very... the first part of the course, certainly in the dry, the first part of the course at Nurburgring is very, very quick. The latter half that we're going through here is a much more technical, much more demanding for a car, for vehicle handling, shall we say. Come on, Ferrari, get through these corners. I think we're doing quite well on time. We might actually be able to beat the Astra. Fingers crossed, eh? Uh-oh, big puddle, big puddle. We're going straight. We can keep it on the curb. Again, similar tactics to the Puddle of Doom. Just keep it on the curb and through that bit there, and you don't have too many problems with the deep water. Okay, now this is where I went off with the Astra, trying to carry too much speed on the way up. Oh, we avoided the grass. You crazy Ferrari, just you try to use the power and it's just moving about and there is nothing you can do. Fortunately though, it is quite a predictable moving about. I feared we were going to be really unpredictable, but no, it's actually quite manageable in in these conditions. Oh, try to use a little bit more throttle. Where are the puddles down here? I can't remember. Okay, no, they're quite small puddles down here. And just, I often find myself, certainly with this car in these conditions, I find myself just taking that slightly wider line through the turns because often the puddle's kind of on the apex of the corner. It congregates kind of on the curb. Oh, that was a scary speed. That was a scary... That was a little scary trying to get that speed out of the Ferrari. Now I know there are big puddles on the inside because with all the reflections going on, I can't quite see where they are. So again, it's just safer to go wide. And again, this the second carousel. Oh, I've got all of the understeer. No, we're in the wall. Ah, bugger it! Go Ferrari, go Ferrari! I know you don't have much traction out there on the dirt. I may have put a 1.7 million pound Ferrari race car slightly in the wall. It's okay. It's okay, I actually got a lot more understeer than I expected through there. Yeah, I've had not massive problems with oversteer. We've not been constantly fighting. We've not really ever looked like properly spinning the car, in all honesty. That was close, though. I just left the inside of the track as the puddle appeared. Got away with that. Oh, God, the spray once we get up to this sort of speed is incredible. I'm not going to see if there is a puddle, so the car may suddenly jerk to the left or right and have a really big accident. We're 170 miles an hour in an old Ferrari. It's bouncing and moving, and I'm terrified. 180. Please don't let there be a puddle anywhere. We're out of all of the gears. Please don't let there be a puddle. I don't quite know what I'm going to do if there is a puddle. We're going to have an accident. Oh, we're going to have an accident anyway. We're on the grass. Somehow we made that. How the bloody hell did we make that? I don't know. I should not be alive there. That should not have worked, and now I'm panicked. We're just gonna crawl through these last couple of corners. It's actually super close between the Ferrari and the Astra. Come on, Ferrari, get some power down, get some power down. Come on, go. We're gonna do it though. A Ferrari, a 903.4 from the Ferrari. We could have got under 9 minutes. If I hadn't got that understeer moment, we could have got under 9 minutes. Oh, that is a tough track and car combination. I will say though, it wasn't as tough as I thought it was going to be. I really thought we were going to have more issues, but with just that little bit of caution, in the Ferrari, you know, if you're a moron with the throttle, you will have many an accident. But with that little bit of caution, you can get it around pretty well. This circuit, it definitely does become a game of spot the puddle, and you cannot touch one of them in a car like this, especially not if you're trying to get the power down or something. You will have a tremendous accident. I was amazed I got it across the grass. I was getting a bit carried away going 180 miles an hour into that corner. Probably should have tried turning in. I should have had a lift on the way in. Somehow I got away going across the grass, got it back on track across a puddle, and we kept everything under control. Yeah, the Ferrari was not beaten by an Astra. It was close, it was scary, and I highly recommend you give this a go. If you have Forza 6, you haven't got Forza 6, why not? You should be getting it. Yeah, because this car and this track in wet weather conditions is a phenomenal challenge. But that is it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.